So my topic today that I wanted to talk to you about is what if? And this is something that we play in our heads absolutely all the time. Now, there's a big difference between what if and if only. If you think about those two phrases, what if and if only, most of us in relationship are thinking if only. I would be kinder to my spouse if only my spouse were kinder to me. We put a contingency on things and we give someone else the power. If only my husband worked out. If only my husband brought me flowers. If only my wife would not be so consumed with kids. If only my wife would be kinder to me. It's constant. And what that does is it actually puts you in the position of being the victim. My life would be different if somebody else behaved differently. It's not my fault. I'm the victim here. I'm the one who is entitled to see some change. There's no reason why I should change until my spouse changes. And if I change and they don't, then see, it didn't work. So just forget it. I'm going back to what I did. It's too much work. And if only he would do his part, and I'm talking about men because I've heard this from women the most frequently. If only he would do this part. My husband doesn't work as hard at this relationship as I do. Why do I have to do all the work? So that's all this stuff about being the victim instead of being able to actually move into a happier place. So my question then becomes, if we change our if only to what if? What if you kept in mind every single day why you married this man in the first place? What if you made a list of those qualities and you recall them on a daily basis? You know, you could just take a little 3x5 card and jot down anywhere from 3 to 10 things, your choice. You can pick the top 3 or you can go with a whole list of 10. I actually came up with 84. It's actually very pleasing to read that list because, you know, what's so great about my husband? And you started out with that's the title. And then you can just list words like adjectives that tell you why you picked him in the first place. We often forget that. You know, men forget why they picked us too. And we get caught up in the minutia of the day, of the struggles of the week, and we don't really remember our why. You know, Simon Sinek, this great guy that a lot of people know about him. He said all great companies start with why. So why not have your marriage start with why? Why did you pick this guy in the first place? So you read this list and you carry that around in your head all day long and you keep it in mind. Then you want to do 3 things. And the first one is you want to stop and think about, what is his experience right now? What is he going through? Is he having problems at work? Is he having problems with his health? Is he being challenged by his family of origin? That's an issue sometimes. Does he have any friends? What are his goals? What is the thing he dreams about every day? What does he wish for? You know, if you don't know those things, your marriage is not going to go anywhere. You really have to know those things about him. You've got to understand what is so different about a man so you know what it is to look for in terms of what his experience is. And I've talked about that in a lot of different places, but one of those things is that he's particularly sensitive to anything that makes him feel like he's less of a man. So you could ask yourself, what are the places, what are the ways that he's getting messages either from me or from other people that he's not measuring up to his expectations of who he should be as a man? What's his experience? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, what does he need from you? Now, I can guarantee you he doesn't need you to fix him. That often is the approach that women will take, is they'll step in and try to fix whatever's broken. And in doing that, we give him advice, we try to encourage him, we tell him he's something that he doesn't think he is, which all just creates cognitive dissonance and really messes the whole thing up, makes him start to tune you out. So he doesn't need you to fix him. He doesn't need you to give him advice. He really doesn't need encouragement, not the way that we think about encouragement. Instead, what he really needs, and you could write this one down because it's 9 times out of 10 what he needs, is he needs your attention. That means that you turn your focus on him and you listen to what he's saying. You give him space to talk about what's going on, and you don't chime in and give advice. You can chime in with 2 to 3 word responses, such as, "Oh, wow, sounds hard." Those are really 2 good ones. Or you can say, "I can't imagine." You can also say something like, "I'm amazed at what you do." But your responses need to be brief. If they're longer than that, then it tends to flip the focus over, as far as he's concerned, onto you. Because men don't have conversations like we do. So you've got to stay focused on what he's talking about. Keep your responses brief. If he pauses, wait and see if he starts talking again. When you do that for your husband at least once a day, it will start to change things, because the thing that men crave most in life, and I'm going to say most in life, and it's true for virtually every man, the thing they crave the most is a woman's attention. And it starts when they're little boys. You know, if you have children and you have boys and girls, then you can see the difference. And sometimes we think it's just a personality difference, but I think it's actually a gender difference. Little boys want their mom, "Look, mom, watch me, look at this." That's going to be your first go-to if you don't know what he needs. Give him attention. Okay, remember, we've got, keep in mind your why. What are the things that drew you to him in the first place? Then you're going to think about his experience. What is he going through right now? Number 2 is, what does he need from you? And then number 3 is, can you give it to him? And are you willing to give it to him? And those are decision points. Those are things you've got to decide for yourself. If you're stuck in the if only mode, if you're stuck in what I call the yeah, but mode, then you're not going to be willing to give it to him. Can you give it to him? You know, if you are ill, if you've got the flu and you're throwing up, it'd be really hard to think about somebody else at that point, right? Sometimes you can't, but most of the time it's not a matter of can't, it's a matter of I'm not willing. You have to make that choice. Are you willing to do that? What if you thought about your why every day? You thought about your husband's experience. You thought about what he needed, and you were willing and able to meet those needs for him. What would happen if? I want to challenge you to experiment with that and see what happens, and let me know, because it's different for everybody. Sometimes in the process, you'll learn something about yourself you didn't recognize. Other times you'll learn something about him that you'd either forgotten or just plain didn't know. So I hope that helps. That's what I have to say for today. And now I'm going to take your questions.